Oh, I was gonna say that that's a long history, and please keep that point. And we'll get back to it, but I just want to say like there's probably a long history of volunteer and advocacy work, collected between all of us. Like my that I'm very like I'm within the community of the San Gabriel Valley. I was born and raised here, and for Bertha Rivera, I don't know how long have you been in the community, but there's it seems like I have a feeling that you've been involved a lot in the community also, and I just wanted to at least start the conversation right now that how has organizing, well, what are some of the difficulties y'all felt during this pandemic, and given the quarantine orders, given social distancing, and all the barriers that entails. Have you all felt any issues with trying to provide?
Brian,
Bertha, would you like?
oh,
Oh, sorry. Pradeep, can you finish your point, and then Bertha? There you go.
thank you.
Yeah, Bertha, go ahead, please.
Oh, okay.
Okay, okay. Brian, when I first got involved in this in the food giveaway program, I thought that it would be just a small portion of food. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, when I received the phone call about coming, to the Gurdwara and meeting with this particular person, which was Predip, and she started to share with me about the food giveaway. I thought, well, it sounds like a very practical thing to do. But what I didn't realize, Brian, is that when we ride in our cars and we're on our phones and we're listening to the radio, we don't see the homelessness. We don't see the desperate need of community. People live in back alleyways. They live in tents. And I'm talking about, sometimes I've even known families that have to sleep in their car with their children. So there's a lot of need in this community. And I took it to heart when I first met Predip, but I had no idea that it was going to blossom into such a need. And each and every Saturday when we meet, she's really an amazing person. She's in the kitchen. I mean, she starts preparing on Wednesdays, okay, for the Saturday events. And I pick up food and we work hand in hand. And then there's some other volunteers that come in. So there's a huge effort, Brian, that comes together in order to feed 1,200 lunches. And what I was first impressed with the whole program is the dignified way that the food was packaged, because there's not another food program in this area other than up in Pasadena, which is the mission. The my I'm drawing a blank for
The
the name.
Union Station.
Union. Yes, yes, yeah. Union Station up on Arroyo Parkway. Okay, they're probably the only uh, food giveaway program that actually gives warm food away. But in the packaging of the food, there's a fork, a spoon, there's a napkin, the food is warm, and then there's always a piece of fruit or a couple of pieces of fruit that are added. And as they started to distribute the food, I was amazed with thinking that we have a lot of day workers. Okay, I was amazed with myself that I even came up with this idea. We have a lot of day workers over at the Home Depot, and I've known that for years. So I started taking food over there, and I started with maybe 15 lunches. Well, they went immediately. I even had to make a second trip back to the Godara. Okay, so now I'm up to 30, sometimes 40 lunches. And Brian, I'm deeply touched every time I drive up into the driveway, because I feel like such a celebrity. Because they know my name. They know my car, and they wait for me. Okay, they wait for me, and it's always a blessing to see their faces, to hear their stories, and it's really a marvel to know and to want to participate with individuals that share the same kind of wants, and to see the energy that goes into putting these lunches together. But Brian, I call it a blessing that I'm there. I want to continue to work there as a volunteer, and this amazing woman called Pradeep has such a vision for this, for this work. And I keep thinking to myself, I mean, the vision will have to come because, I believe what God says, that if you want something bad enough, He shall give us the desires of our heart.
Mhm.
So I'm anticipating to see the vision that this woman has. But also too, I just want to make a very short mention. Her husband and her children are also part of this ministry, and it's really awesome to see them all work together. But when the Sikh community comes together, it's amazing how they think nothing about putting food together, offering, feeding. And I understand, for a number of years now, they've been down to the mission down on Skid Row. They also take food down there. So, this establishment, this church, this temple, we desperately need to continue to have them here. See, I had no idea they were doing that type of trench work. I just knew that they were there, and I knew that they were very quiet people, and I knew it was a different culture. But now that I'm involved, and now that I see the work that they've done, they can't go anywhere else but to stay here in Alhambra.
Mhm.
We have a lot of desperate people that are living in our communities that people drive by every day and don't even pay attention to them. There's a man in a wheelchair, and he's lived on Main Street probably for about 9 months now, and he's in a wheelchair. And there's several people that sleep in the alleyways. There's several people that sleep, in the parking lot. So, Brian, we have a huge community of homelessness, and it's very important that we continue to serve these people.
Mhm. And for Pradeep, how has offering a service in a community different from, at normal times? Like given the pandemic, have you found any difficulties or issues with our current situation?
Yes. So prior to the pandemic, people had other sources of accessing help, of accessing sources in general. But with the pandemic, as it has gotten worse and worse, many area churches have been unable to meet the need. The people have been having more difficulties in reaching to those places where they could, get help. There is fewer modes of transportation available, fewer people, fewer neighbors to help them get to far off places where there is a food giveaway or something like that. So the need has grown and the resources have dwindled. So people who could earlier access those resources or even reach those resources are now finding it that much more difficult.
Mhm.
And I have also seen that earlier people had, families. So there are people who are newly food insecure. I would not say homeless, but food insecure. So we have had people come to our food distribution and tell us, look, you might think that we have a good car, so we might not be that much in need and we are here to take advantage of it, but we are not. We actually have family that got COVID and they're in the hospital and there's no one to cook for us at home. So we
Mhm.
have come down to, asking for cooked meals, and there's no way we can, buy food on a regular basis. And they're like, can we have 2 meals or 3 meals instead of, 1 meal per person? And we have always, from the very beginning, placed no restrictions on the number of meals you can take. So you could just drive up in your car and say that, I need 10 meals, and we will give it to you without question. So we do not question how many meals. It's not 1 meal per car. It's as many meals as you feel the need for. And we, just go on on everybody being honest and taking only as much as they need. But yeah, due to the pandemic, the need for ready-to-eat meals, cooked meals has gone up. And the challenge we are facing right now is, apart from the cooked meals that we cook, we tried to reach out to LA Food Bank and other regional food banks to see if they could supplement our efforts by adding, dairy products, vegetables, cheese, bread, other things. But all of them are so stretched thin that they said we are not taking up any new partners. So as of now, we literally beg the other area churches who are partners with LA Food Bank to give us whatever they have left over. So
Mhm.
we get the occasional help from Pastor Matt Barnes at First Baptist Church of Alhambra, and there's another church in LA called All Saints Catholic Church. I
Mhm.
believe the pastor is Father James. I might be wrong. I apologize in advance. But these two churches have helped us, and we also get the occasional donation from Sprouts. But yeah, the main change is that we are not getting any help whatsoever from any governmental agency to
Mhm.
augment our resources, or to continue with our mission. So whatever we are providing right now is coming 100% out of our own pockets. We do
Mhm.
not get governmental assistance. So the food banks are unable to help us simply because they are stretched too thin due to the pandemic.